7 o'clock in the evening, watching something stupid on TV. I'm zoned under the sofa when my wife comes in the room and sees me. Is this behind the music with Leonard Skinner? I say I don't know, say it's getting late, what you wanna do for dinner? You know I kinda had a big lunch, so I'm not super hungry. You know, baby, I ain't starving either, but I could eat. That song and the cheeseburger song from VeggieTales, the one where he's like... You are my cheeseburger, my fucking cheeseburger, done done for you. You are my... That song is so funny. And I, for my own personal reasons, was looking at the VeggieTales Apple Music thing, like as an artist, and that's their number one song. Is the cheeseburger love song. It's not any of the Christian stuff. By the way, I didn't even realize that VeggieTales was like a Christian animated thing until like I was like a teenager. I like the whole time just thought like everyone watched VeggieTales like it was chill, but it wasn't chill. And I used to have the VHS of VeggieTales, and on that one was the cheeseburger song episode, and that like literally brings back so many beautiful little memes. I had a VHS growing up, and we had actually quite a few VHSs. Like, I don't think I could name every single one, but I know that when someone says a movie title, I can be like, oh, I had that on VHS. Like, it, like, makes me snap back into the memory. But we had The Mask on VHS with Jim Carrey. We had Tommy Boy on VHS with Chris Farley. We had Rockadoodle. The three main girls, the three main comedies that have ever been made: The Mask, Tommy Boy, and Rockadoodle. Rockadoodle is more of a musical about, it's a rock and roll chicken, or a rooster, really. A rooster. And he goes on quite a little adventure. It's reminiscent of The Brave Little Toaster, which I think is a genius movie and an important movie. That's like one of those underrated animated movies that I'm like, literally, man, I could not recommend a movie more to you than Brave Little Toaster or Rockadoodle. My sister still sings the songs from that VHS, and no one ever knows what we're talking about. But yeah, I'm actually going to be talking about something super dark, and I don't know why. Like, that was just... Yeah, I'm going to talk about something super dark. But before I talk about something super dark, I just want to talk about Scary Movie. I just want to say, Scary Movie... I see Scary Movie as, like, true high art. And I actually just saw someone say, like, there is no such thing as high art or low art. It just is. Art just is. But I, like, really... I watch Scary Movie like I watch Family Guy. It's the concept of trying to write an episode is so mind-blowing to me and like impossible that it just befuddles me and bewilders me every time I watch it. You have to be so tapped in and do so much research about horror movies of the last decade, and like you have to make jokes that are edgy but not too edgy. And like Scary Movie 5 had to make a movie that, quite frankly, it's an edgy satire, right? It's like they push the boundaries of what's okay and what's not okay. So obviously they have had movies in the past that maybe haven't aged well, but it's all in the name of fun. And that's the thing about Scary Movie. Similar to Mamma Mia 2, Here We Go Again, there was a critic that gave a review that was like, if you don't like Mamma Mia 2, Here We Go Again, you just are finding something to hate. You know, like it's not going to win Oscar for Best Film, even though it should. It's not going to do that. It's literally just meant to have fun. That's how I feel about Scary Movie. All the Scary Movies. It's literally, there's no other point than for you to have fun. That's it. That's the experience. And Scary Movie is well written. It is ridiculous. It is bizarre. It is over the top. And it's fun. And Scary Movie 5 was fun for me. And I also love Anna Faris. I love Anna Faris so much. I don't think she gets enough credit for her comedic skills. And I actually feel very, like, connected to Anna Faris. I used to listen to her podcast all the time. And she was, like, one of the first podcasts I ever listened to. She had really good guest stars on it. And I just really like her. I think she's, yeah, man, I just really like Anna Faris. And I think like the House Bunny, her in Lost in Translation, she's so good in that movie. That's the thing about Anna Faris is like she's known for like Scary Movie and the sitcom Mom. You know what I mean? Like kind of a broad actress, right? But really, she's given some phenomenal performances. Oh my god, I love Anna Faris. I love her, and like I think like I don't know. I just see her as such a person with such a spectrum, but also such a niche. And I think she's like one of a kind. And even in the Scary Movie 5, there's an actress who plays her daughter, and the actress does a phenomenal job of like using Anna Faris's like famous tone and like comedic sensibilities. But I really think she's one of a kind. I think she is a truly like a genius. Like her acting, she's been in movies where she plays a small part and she plays it sincerely, and she's a phenomenal actress. She always knows exactly what to do. Like she's extremely aware of herself as an actress, but she plays very unaware people, and it's like she has the most nuanced version of that like ability because she's such a genius. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, she actually did a movie with Sacha Baron Cohen, which was not widely received as a good movie. And I was also impressed with her in that movie. She really, like, she's quite an oddball. In a weird way, she reminds me of John. She's, like, reminiscent of, like, John Waters to me. And that they're so different. But she just has, like, very, like, just such a myriad, beautiful collection of films that she has been a part of. Oh, man, I love her. And yeah. Oh, that's another thing is Scary Movie was really creative, and I think it was clever, and I think it's also a time capsule. That all the Scary Movies are time capsules. That's also why I like Scary Movie, is because I think it's like timeless in its specificness, and it's really a moment in time, every Scary Movie, and that's what this felt like too, is like a moment in time. Also, I should mention, it is my birthday in a day. Oh my god, I'm gonna be 23. I went to Gov Ball this weekend. It was super trooper fun. I saw The Dare. The Dare blew my mind. The Dare blew my mind. I'm his biggest fan. Like, after his performance, it was like, I could not name something that's more my taste than a live performance by The Dare. The way he, like, just swings his body is like exactly the way that he looks is the way that I feel when I dance. Like, and he's also like a 6 foot tall, maybe even taller man in a suit and sunglasses with like a bowl haircut, and he's making music that sounds like Charlie XCX, and he like has a hoop earring. Oh my god, he's so hot. He's so hot. It's crazy. Okay, whatever. I have a crush on The Dare. Sorry, sue me. I also on Audrey Hobart. Sue me, I want to be wanted. She was terrific. I love her. I also think she's one of a kind. I think she's going to be one of those artists. And I know I wish her the success of, like, literally Michael Jackson, whom I'm actually about to talk about. I wish her all the success, girl. But that being said, like, I think she's going to be one of those people that inspires people endlessly. I feel like she's so creative and trust the audience that they're gonna be able to understand, like, that as silly maybe, or like in touch with her inner child that she's just as profound. Like, she's profound. And I just think her mixing comedy with it just feels utterly authentic, and that's my favorite trait in a human being, is honestly, at the end of the day, are they being like authentically themselves? And then I saw Lord. Oh my god, I saw Lord. And we all know how I feel about Green Light. I think it's the best song ever. And here's the thing about Lord, is I don't believe in religion personally. I don't. So in a weird way, I think, like, creativity, this is going to sound heady, but no, this is going to be an intense episode. Sorry, it's about to be my birthday, and this is a moment of great and grandiose change. So there's a lot of like extremes going on. And so it can be my birthday and I can talk about deep stuff, okay? That's what I want for my birthday. Being creative is like being meditative. So to me, like anything that's inspiring to me feels spiritual. And Lorde is a very inspiring artist, and she takes herself extremely seriously. And it allows you to take yourself seriously because she takes the mundane elements of life and like zooms in like a fucking microscope and like speaks about it like it's high art. It's like the way that it's not even romanticized. It's just like this, everything that's happening is the most important thing that's ever happened. And I'm like the only person who living like a real life experience. That's what Lorde's music is. So like the fact that she named herself Lorde, I don't know the backstory behind why her name's Lorde. So maybe she didn't name herself. I don't fucking know. But the fact that her name is Lorde is, I'm like, yeah, you kind of are Lorde. You actually kind of are the Lorde. Because every time she releases an album, it's like releasing a fucking book of the many colors of life is what she's talking about. But I just had like I'm gonna say it. I had like a religious experience being at a music festival in the summer, listening to Lorde's music. It felt religious. Like, that's why she's the Lorde, dude. That's why she's the Lorde. And I had so much fun. Most recently, though, I watched the Michael Jackson video. Not the Michael Jackson video, the Michael Jackson documentary. And look, I am a true Gen Zer. I'm going to give you a lot of prefaces right away because I don't want this to be misconstrued. Like, Netflix came out with this documentary, and all I've seen in the comments of every single thing that is associated with Netflix in any way is every single comment is defending Michael Jackson just because this is the platform that put out this documentary. The intensity that me even talking about this is going to mean, like, that's probably what's going to happen to me is for the rest of my life. The comments are going to be things defending Michael Jackson. And I think that adds the controversy. I don't feel like there is a more taboo subject talked about. And I just want to make a call out to Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy gets a lot of hate. Ryan Murphy, I've seen what you've done with the People versus OJ, the retelling of a case that actually happened using actors. You need to do that with the Michael Jackson case. And he's kind of the only person who can do that. He's the only person who, like, Lorde, I've seen what you've done with the Menendez Brothers TV show. Like, Ryan Murphy, I've seen what you've done. I know you can do this. But the thing is that it's the most controversial thing that has, like, ever fucking happened, dude. Like, honestly, it's such, it has it really is, like, one of the most interesting moments in world history. I'm not even kidding. Because of the effects that it still has. And it is similar to the O.J. Simpson trial. Of, like, it is a complete nation divided. And it's based on your own personal traumas. It's based on your own personal morals. Whether you side or don't side with the subject. It is an onion of layers, bitch, is the Michael Jackson trial. Or Michael Jackson's life, really. I'm talking about Michael Jackson as a figure. And here's my thing. Because I'm gonna talk honestly, because what I really want to say is it is so controversial that I feel like no one's talking about it honestly. And I'm like, I want to talk about it, like, for real. As, like, a normal person in society, I want to talk about it. Because I feel like everyone should be talking about it all the time type of vibe. John Early once said something that was so profound, and everything John Early says to me, I'm not even kidding, I think about it every day. Everything he says, I think about it every day. And this is one of those things. He went on a podcast and was like, the movie Clock Turners, which he cites as, like, a huge pivotal moment of his life, is when he watched Clock Watchers. He was like, that movie, like, changed my life in terms of, like, it showed me a shade of the world that you can't ever unsee, and now you're just permanently a little darker as a human being, and there's just nothing you can do. It's not necessarily good or bad. It's just a shade of life that you didn't know existed that now you know exists. And that is how I feel about the Michael Jackson case. I watched the Neverland documentary. Well, actually, I'll tell you exactly what happened. I saw the Oprah interview because I frequent the Oprah YouTube page and I watch her stuff all the friggin' time, especially in high school. That's just who I am. And she did an interview with the people who made the Neverland documentary from like a while ago. And I watched that, and I had never seen anyone talk about child molestation in my life. I didn't know it existed. Oh, man. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be an emotional episode. Of course it is. I didn't even know it existed. That is how I found out that child molestation even existed. And I was so it is endlessly, sensationally dark. Similar to the Menendez brothers case. It's like, it is addictive because it's so dark and it's all consuming. Because it's like the deepest, darkest thing is to be abused like that. And so I was like, once again, this is my introduction to the concept, and I just never even thought about it, and this was the introduction. So then, God bless, my parents had an HBO Max subscription my whole life. That is like, once again, one of the true reasons if I ever give a speech, they'll be thanked is just for the HBO Max password that I've always had access to. I watched the Neverland documentaries alone in my room. I think I was 14. Which is like such a privilege that I didn't even know what it was. Because like it's such a privilege, the fact that I'm already gonna get emotional, but this is the most emotional thing. And also it's my birthday. This is the thing that I want to talk about because I think it's important to talk about this, and it's hard to talk about it, and I'm interested in things that make me think and make me question things. Okay. I am white. Within that of itself, I have the ability to have access to a level of innocence that so many, basically every other minority does not have the chance to elongate in their life because they have to be aware of the world they live in and that it's a dangerous world. And so those people's parents have to have conversations with their kids about safety, about racism, about like unfair treatment, about like protecting yourselves that I never had to have simply because I'm white. I just, because of that, I was not introduced to these difficult topics at a young age. So because my innocence lasted longer, it's like when it broke, I have such a satiate memory of when my innocence around something that I just did not know existed was showed to me, and it changed my life perception. And watching that Neverland documentary, I watched the entire thing. I was crying the whole time, and I literally rewatched it. I just like could not believe it. It just like still to this day is one of the most moving documentaries I've ever seen, and it's just like heartbreaking. It's just so heartbreaking because they go into such detail, and that's like the specifics, the grimy, like impossible to talk about specifics that just like completely rocked my world of like, it was just like so much information of something that was so dark. And then I saw the reaction to the documentary, which was just, from the way that I viewed it, it felt like everything was negative. I feel like Oprah was the only person, but by all means, if you're gonna have one person on your side, it better, like, Oprah Winfrey is a good person to have. I agreed with Oprah. I believed them. I don't know how you come out of that documentary not believing them. Like, it is just such a clear, like, it just is so shattering. You know what I mean? There's not a doubt in my mind. It's just, yeah. So I watched that, and the reaction to that was just like, they're liars, they want money, all this stuff. Like, that is always the reaction. That is always the reaction. Is like, they want money, it's a lie. and they just hate Michael Jackson or whatever. This is such like a nuanced conversation, and so I'm totally willing to hear why I'm wrong in anything that I'm talking about. This is just, once again, I want to open the door type of vibe. Just every YouTube video that I would watch about this case, because I was so interested in it, which is what happens every time I kind of learn about sensationalized case, like the O.J. Simpson case or the Menendez brothers case or like any of these huge cases, I do my own research after watching the thing. I think that's pretty normal, right? It's like you become interested and then like you want to learn more, and so I would watch like YouTube videos, and like a lot of these like televised cases, there are like endless footage of it. So but every single time I would click on the comments, it would just be like, every single comment would just be like, they're lying, they're evil, Michael Jackson's innocent. Like, I was just like I'm overcome with the complete like denial. And that was also a shade darker of the world, was like the documentary being the way that I learned, and it actually was extremely educational. Like, even though it was like groundbreaking to who I was as a human being and my identity, it also was like incredibly specific about every single thing that happened. So through the grooming process and all those things, and I was like, I just feel like I got such an understanding of like the specifics of that case were so intense on the spectrum of like who Michael Jackson is as a person. It also just showed me like the patterns, right? Of like, if this were to happen in your life, these are the things you could look out for, the red flags. It's just so educational. And so that was a shade darker. But then seeing that people still were like, these victims of the situation are liars. It's like, oh, like you could have something awful happen to you and it could ruin your life. Like, that was the first time I'd ever seen that happen in my life. And like, these are the types of things that like I was learning in my room on my phone at 14 years old, like the darkness of the world that like I still feel that men at their grown ass ages are like just discovering. You know what I'm saying? Like in their 30s and 40s. But now the Netflix documentary came out and I am watching it. And wow, what a documentary. That's what I have to say first off and foremost. Okay, what a documentary. I remember when I watched the Spike Lee documentary on Hurricane Katrina, which I could do an entire other episode about because it changed my life once again. And it's another like a notch of darkness that it even like, because that one is so specifically about like I just can't even talk about it. The like effects of slavery. It's just like it's probably Paris is Burning and the Hurricane Katrina documentary are literally in my top 4 letterbox of like, these are the best documentaries I've ever seen. But I can't even do that right now because that's too far off to name all 4 letterbox documentaries, and documentaries and horror movies are my favorite. Wow, why? But that being said, I am not someone that's like, I love serial killer documentaries. Like, I've gone through that phase of my life. I really do like watching documentaries about good things too. Okay? Like, I run the gamut of like human, I don't know, the human spectrum. And like, sometimes it's great documentaries about how the earth is getting better, and sometimes it's the worst things you've ever seen in your life. You know what I mean? It's a spectrum of documentaries. But anyways, once again, going back to the Audrey Hobart of it all. Sorry to bring you into this, girl. Sorry to bring you into this conversation, girl. But the authenticity, the thing about a documentary is this is a person who is sitting on camera and you are at home and you can either feel that they're lying to the camera and they've been lying the whole time, or you can feel they're telling the truth. You can feel it. You can feel it through the fucking screen, through the fucking interview, through their way that they, like, you can feel authenticity. And this documentary is that, baby. You can feel the authenticity. There's just so many moving parts to this. You know, obviously it's intensified and it's movie-fied and like sensationalized and like whatever, but it is extremely moving. And I think it's kind of with Michael Jackson, it's like, where do you start? You know what I mean? Do you start at his childhood? Like, I think that is another conversation I'm going to have in a second, but but like, do you start in his childhood and explain why he's a pedophile? These documentaries that I've watched haven't done that. They've just started at the victims of Michael Jackson and explained their stories, because Michael Jackson has just completely refused to, you know, admit to this. So it's not like they can have like a firsthand occurrence of like his life. But it's a haunting documentary. It's haunting. And every single person, there's a lot of things to keep track of, you know, because it's such a layered conversation. With every single person, this is why truth is stranger than fiction. They have their own complete worldview that affects the case in different ways. And it's just so confounding. And I'm going to talk about the hardest part. I think, and this is like the hardest story ever to even talk about, and I'm going to talk about the hardest part for me, for what I thought it was. The child's mother. I'm already going to cry. The child's mother in this Netflix documentary, immediately when you see her interview, you can tell she sees the world very simply. Of like, Michael Jackson is this Jesus Christ figure. Her son had cancer, and she was like in poverty, and Michael Jackson helped pay for the treatments for her son to beat cancer. And like, she was divorced and had no money, and like Michael Jackson completely changed her life in every single way. She, like, you see how devoted she is to this man. And then you see another interview where she's in denial, and then the next thing you see is her in the courtroom. Oh my God. And she is incredibly like emotional and chaotic, and just did not have the psychology as a human being to handle the situation. She is reacting to the situation she's in incredibly earnestly. And because of that, she's portrayed as crazy. And it's just, and she was, and she's defensive and mad and sad and meek, and then like just such a expressive human being who at one point everything was so innocent and happy and lucky, and just her whole worldview crashed, and her worldview, and she can't handle it. She can't psychologically handle it. And I'm like, that is the effects of that. And I'm not even talking about the children. But just the mother of the children. It's just like I don't know. I root. It's not that I root, but I see myself in people who were gullible, because I grew up as a very gullible person, and people said to my face I was gullible, and I see that in other people, and I like, my heart breaks, because it's like, people think you're dumb because you're naive. But there's nothing you can do when you're naive and you don't know you're naive. There's nothing you can do. You know what I mean? And that's really why these cases are impossible. And that's why for the rest of the world's time, there's going to be people who are like, he's innocent or he's not innocent. Is because this is probably the most vulnerable subject. And it's the darkest subject. So I think people who are always like, Donald Trump isn't a pedophile, or, you know, Michael Jackson isn't a pedophile, or Elvis Presley isn't a pedophile, like the most famous people of all time, like, it's that within itself, to believe that they are innocent is just like, no, I don't believe it. It's not letting yourself feel the complexities of a human being. You know what I mean? Like, it's too much. It's so private that it's like, it's like when people believe in God. It's like when people believe in God. It's like, if you realize God wasn't real, it would affect every single thing about your life and your identity. And so you're like, God is real, because it's an act of protection of that belief. You want to believe in life, and it's so much more rewarding to believe in the systems that are already here, right? And people want to believe that Michael Jackson is one way. And I'm like, I personally can hold this space and am interested in the complexities of a human being. I am interested in how Michael Jackson can be the most artistically in tuned human being ever created in world history, and like, he had endless love and will endlessly inspire people for the rest of time, and his impact artistically knows no bounds. And he was a serial pedophile at the same time. How can a person be great and bad? Truly good person and a bad person at the same time. That is what's interesting to me. And it's a nuanced conversation because people don't want to believe in gray area. It's so much easier to live in a world of black and white. You don't have to question things. It's easier. And I don't blame people for choosing easiness in life, because it's not very beneficial to believe in the complexities. It makes life a lot harder. It makes life a lot more like, it makes life more complicated. Living simply is ultimately a happier life. So when it comes to this case, it's like the people who will forever defend Michael Jackson, it's like, it's a protection of their belief system. You know what I mean? It's like, no, Michael Jackson is perfect, and he's like this godlike figure, and he would never do something so evil. But the fact that he did do something so evil is where I'm like, this is why we actually need a real biopic. That's the thing about biopics, is I was actually going to go see the Michael Jackson biopic, and I want to say right here, right now, I think I'm happy the biopic exists. It should exist. You know what I mean? I'm just not a biopic person. I always prefer like a documentary to a biopic, because I think biopics are like shaved and smoothed and lotioned and serumed and just like cleansed of complexities to tell a simple story of someone's rise to fame and their forever effects, right? But at the end of the day, I read the Letterboxd reviews of that movie, and it was what I was hoping it wasn't, which is like, Michael Jackson never did anything wrong, and everyone else was wrong, and he's perfect, would have never hurt a fly. And that was like, it's like biopic slop. The Michael movie is biopic slop. I want to live in a world, and I don't think I'm going to see this in my lifetime, but I would like to live in a world where someone approaches the characters of Elvis, or someone approaches the character of Michael Jackson in a biopic, where we can discuss how otherworldly talented he was, and his dark, private, like the spectrum of who he actually was. The bad and the good. It's like, I watched like a Mozart biopic. I forget what it's called, but it was it's probably maybe one of my favorite biopics, because enough time has passed that we can be like, oh, he was a creative genius and also a bad person. As most creative geniuses are. They're not perfectly morally all the way, perfect. But no one is, but like especially creative geniuses. Like the rules don't apply to them. And that's kind of another thing about like why it's so frustrating for me to see it, and why it's frustrating for me to see people not want to discuss something like this, because I like really want to have an honest conversation about this, is because in order for you to be famous and function as a famous person, you have to be delusional. You have to think you're special. You have to think that you have something that no one else has, and that you're going to contribute to the world on a mass level, and that you are that you are you have to believe you're a genius, kind of, you know what I mean? Or you have to believe that you're special. And that line of thinking is the exact type of like line of thinking that a pedophile needs in order to do what a pedophile does. My mom, you know, I watched the Woody Allen HBO documentary about how he's a pedophile with my mom when I think I was a senior in high school. Oh no, I came back for Christmas break and we watched that together. And my mom was like, you know, it's about nothing but power. I also watched the Jeffrey Epstein documentary with her, and that was like truly, like, it was the Neverland documentary and it was like the Epstein documentary that really broke my world. And then the Bill Cosby one, the Harvey Weinstein ones. It's just every time. That's why I'm still a naive person. It's like I know, like, every single time it breaks my heart. Every single time it shocks me when I hear about a mass pedophile or a mass serial, you know, assaulter. She used to say, it's not about sexual gratification, it's about power. And she's right. That's all abuse is. It's about power. They want to feel powerful, and they have to find some facet in life that they actually still feel powerful in, and that's why they take the most, like, pure, innocent thing. It's because they could have, like, a godlike power over this, like, godlike influence over this innocent thing that doesn't know anything yet. And it's just heartbreaking. It's just another layer of, like, living in a dark reality or living in, like, a blissful ignorance. It's like blissful ignorance is happiness to a degree, at least a delusion of it. You know what I'm saying? Something that also really stuck with me with this documentary is Wade Robinson from the documentary I first saw when I was like 14. He and another victim, like, just detailed their personal stories, right? In his documentary, he goes through, like, the ups and downs of, like, being in denial and then, like, really realizing what happened and then speaking out after he had already been in denial and spoke out about how it didn't happen, which is just endlessly fascinating to me as well. He talks about how he was in such denial and it was in such a dark place that, like, and buried it so far deep that he was like, it didn't happen. He just believed it didn't happen. And that's the other thing that I think is important, is I'm like, that's human behavior. I think people view things and they're like, well, you did this, that, this, and this. And sometimes when you just believe something, you do things without thinking. You do things not intentionally. And I think from other people's point of view, people are like, you intentionally did that, or you calculated that and manipulated that. Look at A, B, C, D, and E. And it's like, sometimes you just believe something or you convince yourself of something and then you play that role because that's your framework of how you're functioning in life. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, he just convinced himself that the child abuse didn't happen, as so many victims do of abuse. And he went into court as a child who was a victim and said he wasn't a victim because he was in such denial in his own journey. So seeing that in this documentary about him basically being found not guilty because one of the victims came in who really was a victim and said he wasn't a victim, and that's why other victims of Michael Jackson didn't get justice and he never got, like, a criminal, like, jail time, was just, it feels like a Greek tragedy. Like, it literally feels like a Greek tragedy. It's just so unjust. And it's like, it's no one's fault. It's not his fault. It's not like it's just the way life is like, everyone's on their own path. Everyone's on their own journey, and we're all trying our best. And it's just like, your actions, you're going through your own shit and your actions affect other things. And you don't even know that you're on the wrong side until way later in life. Oh, it's just brutal. It's just like a cracked mirror. You know what I mean? It's just 1,000 little pieces that all, you know, just shattered. It's just shattered. The people who are speaking out and being brave and doing the right thing. When something bad happens to you, for you to speak out and be brave and be honest and authentic and try to, like, help other people. It really does help other people. And I believe in multiple lifetimes, and I believe that the people who are victims in situations like this, whether there are people who believe this person or don't believe this person, just their life in general, just like the mom's life, it's like not being able to psychologically handle what's happening to you to the point that you react irrationally in life. Like, she doesn't have the tools to handle it. So she must have a really fucking hard life. You know what I mean? Anyone could agree that if you are in their position in any way, shape, or form, even if there are people that believe you are a scammer, it's like, you have to agree, that's a rough life, dude. That's a rough life to live. In another lifetime, all those victims are going to be living, beautifully fulfilling, easy, simple, lovely lives. And nothing bad will ever happen to them because so much bad shit happened to them now. And I remember one thing, and actually I'll probably end on this because I'm getting hot in my room, but my mom once said that she grew up religious. My whole family's religious. I grew up religious. She told me that, and I hope she'd be okay with me talking about this. I don't know. It meant a lot to me, so I'm going to share it, and I'll face the consequences of that later. But she was like, she grew up religious, so she believed gay people were bad, but her parents were fairly liberal. My grandparents are fairly liberal within the confines of a conservative religion, and they were always like, yeah, gay people are fine. Even though the religion said it's not fine, we know it's fine. And so my mom was like, had the same belief system, but it's conflicting. I mean, as someone who believed gay people were the single best thing that ever happened to the planet Earth, to also be a minor in a religion that I'm like being told it's not right. I'm like, well, girl, you're wrong. It is right. Like, I just don't believe you. I just never believed that being gay was wrong. As soon as I found out of it, I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. It's just a facet of life. It's like a natural, inevitable thing of the evolution of the world. You know what I'm saying? It's like people being mad people grow to be 6 feet tall. It's like, well, that's just what's going to happen. Like, you just can't control it, girl. Some people are going to be 6 feet tall. Some people are going to be 5 feet tall. Some people are going to be gay. Some people are going to be straight. Like, that's just the spectrum of life. It doesn't make it wrong or right. It just is what it is type of situation. It's just about accepting it. And once again, it's not a bad thing. I think it's the best thing ever. But it's just like people want to live in the confines of their life. Anyways, what she said was she had a friend who was who had AIDS, who was dying in the hospital, and she basically went to visit him in the hospital right before he died, and she was like, I know that he is going to she basically was like, I know that he's going straight to heaven because he suffered so much in this life, so unreasonably and so unjustly, just to be who he was, that in the next iteration of whatever happens, he will be like, he won't have to suffer. And I really agree with that. I don't believe in heaven. I think I do believe in like energy passed down through people and through things, but it's just so impossible to know that that's how people's life experiences went on the planet Earth. It's like you were a victim and this thing happened to you and it forever ruined your life, and there are people that hate you because something bad happened to you. And it completely defines and ruins your life. It's just the worst thing ever. It's just the worst thing ever because you can't control it. And even within the things that you can control, it's like you can't control most of your life. It's just impossible, man. It's just impossible. Okay. Well, this is probably the last fucking episode because like I might get hunted down from what I'm saying right now. But I think I stand by everything I'm saying. So, Yeah. I'm gonna go, and tomorrow's my birthday, so actually you can't be mean to me because tomorrow's my birthday. And I'm going to go have princess cake because I like to eat princess cake on my birthday. Princess cake is so good. If you've never had princess cake, it's like this pink fondant and like a vanilla sponge and like a lemon cream, and it's my mouth is watering just thinking about it. I love princess cake. So I'm gonna have princess cake tomorrow, and I'm gonna turn 23. So next time I see you, I'm gonna be 23. I'm scared. I'm scared, but I'm actually not scared. This is the most scared I've ever been to turn an age. Because 23 to me feels like an adult. Like 22 felt cute. Like 22 felt like, oh, I'm cute. Like I'm not an adult. Like I'm an adult, but it's fun, right? Even though 22 was the worst year of my life and it was the hardest year of my life, and I feel like I actually like my age matched my experience in terms of like the difficulty, but not in terms of the fun level. Like it wasn't fun. It was like truly hellish. It was hellish. Like hell doesn't exist, but there are like, because hell exists on earth, and my like 22 year was hell. So I think 23, I feel more settled in my life now. This sounds so ridiculous coming from a 23-year-old, but it's the truth. I'm being authentic to how I really feel right now. Is I think things will get better, and I don't think there will be as much change in this year and intensity, maybe not intensity, but like as much like radical life changes in this year than last year. I'm gonna watch this back and be like, I'm an idiot. But actually, maybe I won't be. I don't know, man. But I think I'm happy with where I am right now, and even though I feel like so unaccomplished all the time, and I literally am like lost and have no idea what I'm gonna do and feel scared and feel like everyone but me has it figured out, I also feel like I'm right where I should be in a way. And isn't that turning 23? You know what I mean? Isn't that what 23 really is? Is just like, you know what? You can't control life, so you might as well enjoy and be proud of yourself for the things that you did do. And, you know, try your best to make more things that are good and make your life better. You want to try to make your life better and better. And right now it's in hell. So, like, you know, one step above the pits of hell would be an improvement. So, yeah. Bye.